Yo, yo, yo. Thank you so much for tuning in to Conversations with Glo radio show slash podcast. You already know how we get down with the program. Again, I don't be knowing what stuff just come from, but y'all already know how we also get down. Anyway, what I would love for y'all to do is go sign up for my emailing list, and that is on convowithglo.com. Be sure to sign up so you can also get the newsletter so I can blow you up. Nah, I'm just kidding. No spam mail for me, but you will get newsletters as to who would be on the show in the future, what you will get from me. Y'all, I'm just trying to blow Conversations with Glo up how it deserves to be blown up because that's what it deserves to be like, okay? Anyway, make sure y'all go over to convowithglo.com, sign up for the emailing list, okay? But enough about me, your girl Glo. I'm going to have my guest introduce himself. This is first time on here, and hopefully we'll, have him back. But again, I'm going to allow for him to introduce himself. And y'all already know what we're going to do. Get into the conversation.
Hey.
Hey.
Well, my name is Michael Chappelle. I'm the owner of Synlanguage Productions. They also call me Skillet. That's a nickname I had growing up. And basically, I'm a full-time photographer. I produce podcasts, do graphic design. The company also does a lot of video production. A little bit of everything. If it's visual, I can do it.
Okay, if it's visual, he can do it.
Yes,
Okay?
ma'am.
So y'all make sure y'all go and holler at Michael, aka Skillet. I feel like I done known him forever, so it's Skillet.
That's what everybody call me. I answer to
Let,
it.
let's go. Okay. So y'all, let's go ahead and get into the conversation. So the conversation for tonight is why? Okay, so I said, why do men sacrifice their happiness when in a relationship? So I do want to switch it up. So I'm going to say, why do you think men sacrifice their happiness when in a relationship slash marriage?
well, I think men a lot of times sacrifice their happiness when it comes to relationships because being happy isn't part of the job description when it comes to being a provider and a protector. Getting a high five for doing your job is not a thankful job. Like for me, it is. My wife is shows her appreciation. I have really good Father's Days. She shows me that she appreciates me for the man I am. But I will say that from what I see, the majority of men who are married or in relationships, for some reason, I don't know if it's men don't know how to vocalize. Hey, I mean, I'm not saying, hey, give me a high five, babe, but at the same time, I think it's both people. I think it's your partner recognizing that you may be going through a downtime and you need a high five or a pick me up because
Mm-hmm.
women, not all, but the majority of women tend to be more nurturers, and that's part of a woman's responsibility is to nurture and when a man is down to lift him up. And I think sometimes as men we don't know how to say that or ask for it because you think
Why?
about it. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that?
Which part? Why do men not know how to
Why?
vocalize it, or why do women not
Yeah,
do it?
I don't. Okay, why don't men vocalize?
I think it sometimes we get scared of it coming off as soft, even though we have emotions just like women do, but we don't really. Some of us don't know how to verbalize our emotional needs,
Okay.
unfortunately. And I think that's something that's taught even as little boys. When it's you fall down and you get hurt, and it's like don't cry. You ain't no
Okay.
punk. Stop being a girl or whatever. Which that's probably a terrible mindset to have, but we've all gone through it as men. Don't be crying or chalk that shit. Can I cuss on here? I don't want to.
Oh, of course.
Okay. They chalk that shit up or quit being soft. And there is and as with men that are actual men, not just people with penises, men that do hold down their households and take care of what they're supposed to take care of. We don't think about that. We don't think about, well, damn, my emotions aren't being met, but I'm making sure. And sometimes we don't meet the women's emotions either. I mean, sometimes y'all, because not all, but a lot, I would think that the majority of women do need verbal affirmation. And because we already don't know how to express our emotional needs, we probably struggle with fulfilling women's emotional needs as well. But y'all are complicated.
I think men are complicated as well too.
Really? We don't need like four
Yeah,
things.
uh, you say that. You say that, and then you get the four things and just be like, well, damn, I gave the four things. What else do you want from me? Like, um, I think okay, so here's my thing. And it just be more of a ding, 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 of a violin type playing shit because it's just like, okay, so men, you're out here
Mhm,
sacrificing your happiness for whatever type reason that you are
mhm.
sacrificing your happiness for, and then you turn around and you want your partner to actually do the same thing, and you get upset because your partner doesn't want to do that. And I don't find any fairness in that. And the reason why I say this is because I seen something on social media, and this is what made me want to have this conversation, is because women are divorcing their husbands because they're not happy. And it's just like, okay, so what? So why aren't the men not divorcing their wives because they're not happy? Why
Because,
are the men
sorry,
sitting up here being so uptight in regards like, oh, I'm just gonna stick it out because of my family or because of my kids? First of all, y'all excuse me when I say this, and I don't really mean this. Fuck them kids. Because if you're not happy, that means that the kids are actually kind of sort of seeing the fact that you are not happy for real. So therefore, you kind of sort of still bringing around the kids, though you may be that couple that doesn't want to argue around your kids, but your kids can still feel that energy within that household. So why still want to keep it around and try to make something work when something does not it's not there anymore.
mhm.
You're struggling to make something work when it's not working. So why are you sacrificing that? It's not, it's like, and they call women selfish because she wants to move on and be happy for real. I don't see anything selfish in that at all. At all. If
Okay.
anything, selfish has self in it. But hey, you know.
Well, you just said it yourself. Women divorce more than men do, right? That's a known statistic. So
Hmm.
who's sacrificing and who's not? Women aren't sacrificing if they're quicker to tap out than men are. If you want to go find your happiness, and marriage is not only about happiness, because you can
It's
be
not.
happy in a moment and you can go through in all relationships, whether it's work relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, they all have ups and downs. So because you're not happy during this particular season doesn't mean, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go find me some happiness when if both people may have worked at it. And I'm not saying people don't, but if you take the time to work at it, you just might find that happiness that you once had. Because most people ain't getting married just because. People ain't just like, I'm gonna get married, but because you just said it yourself, if men are sacrificing their happiness and women are not, then whose fault is it? If you ain't willing to
But
sacrifice none of it.
Skillet, how long do I have to work at it?
But how
You
many
get
people
what
are
I'm
really working
saying?
at it?
Like, and that's something that we probably don't know. I
Hmm.
That would be something that we'll probably have to, follow back up on, and I would love to follow back up on this for real.
Hmm.
Um, but I can say that in regards with me being in a relationship and actually coming, I with me being in a relationship, well, was in a relationship,
Hmm.
I would say that I did my part in regards with trying to make something work before I ain't gonna say like checked out because I didn't go crazy, but before I was just like,
Well, how
it's
long did you
not.
try?
We were together for 7 years,
Okay. Were y'all
so
married
I
or just,
feel
if you don't mind me asking?
we was just boyfriend and girlfriend. We were in a relationship, so we wasn't married at all.
Mhm.
He did propose to me, but it was, things that allowed for me not to want to marry because I didn't want to marry into something that I felt like once I would have married into that, I was gonna be stuck with it.
Then why keep dating if you don't? If well, let me ask you: do you want to get married?
Um, mm.
So then you wasn't trying to get married anyway.
No, you don't know that.
If you have to hesitate to answer the question, you don't date with the
You
intentions of getting married anyway.
don't
So that's what I'm saying.
you
Because you
don't
want your happiness. You don't want marriage. You want happiness. See, you're helping that statistic. I'm just saying. You hesitate. It's like, do I want to get married? And then that means no. Because if you want to get married, you can answer that quickly. Just like men who want to get married can answer that quickly. You want these J's? When you go to Foot Locker, you go ready to get some J's. Do you be like, do I want these flu games? No, you went there to get the flu games. And you hand them the money, or you slide your card, or you tap your phone, and you get the J's. So you don't want to get married. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying though. If you think about it, see what I'm saying though?
I got tears in my eyes.
And you circumvent a childhood argument. At least for yourself, not for everybody.
No,
I'm just saying.
cause no, cause somebody can come and change my mind. That's what I'm saying. Like it just
No, because if
basically
you,
depends.
but wanting to be married doesn't mean it depends on the person. You want what marriage is, regardless of who the person is, even if you never find
Could be
it.
true.
I've been married 16 years.
That's good.
I wanted to be married.
That's
And
good.
we've had dark times and up times, but it's been more up than down. And I think that people spend more time, they forget about the good times when things are going bad. And men tend to swallow that shit when it sucks, quote unquote. Whereas I'm not saying all women, because everybody is different, but the majority of women, like I say, y'all, like I said, I'm not saying every,
Yeah.
but more women often than not say, I'm married for happiness and love. But your emotions can change all the time. I go to work one day, man, I love this motherfucking job. That shit straight. Well, I ain't got to do shit. And then the next day, be like, man, fuck this goddamn job. But I ain't got to
Yeah.
divorce my job. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I've been in my job for 6 years. And there's times when it's ups and downs. And I take the whole of it and go, is it worth it because it helps me provide for my family? Or did I have a shitty weekend at work? Fuck this work, I ain't happy. And that's
Right.
kind of not again, that's that more often than not, that's the approach of men when it comes to relationships and marriage. We ain't always searching for happy. Because some of it is, are we comfortable? Some of it is this somebody I could trust? Is this somebody we factor in more pieces than women? I believe that men factor in more variables than women do when it comes to marriage. Because, and I'm not talking about the whole traditional and 50-50,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
internet
Yeah.
conversation. I'm talking about in
Yeah.
real life. When you
Yeah.
think about it, we tend to factor in, is she good to my kids? Does she make sure my house straight? Um, and there's a long myriad of things that they talk about. But whereas I think more women, more often than not, go, am I happy? And you, at some point, you had to be married, excuse me, happy, or why the fuck you get married?
Right.
But just
Right.
because it's not happy in this season doesn't mean it can't become happy again.
Yeah. I believe that if you work on it.
Yeah, but how
If
many
you
people
work
working on
on it and you try and that's something again that we got to come back to find out how many people are actually working on it.
it? I don't know, because I think women tend to, and it's not an attack on women. I do believe women tend to have more single friends that don't give them good relationship and marriage advice, whereas men, when we hang out, we don't complain about our. I mean, we might be like, man, that bitch getting on my nerve, goddamn. But we usually talking shit about sport. We're not pouring our feelings out about, oh, I hate my wife and I'm not happy. We in that motherfucker chilling. We drinking beers, watching football. We might be shooting some pool. We in the backyard grilling. We not, because we know that there's more to that than just happy.
Yeah. Um what I've learned is that I'ma say this, the next relationship that I do get in, I'm not running my mouth about my relationship because
See, because y'all will tell each other the shit that going in your house, and then they'll start. And a lot of times, not always, but some of those friends be single as hell, and then you need to leave that man. He don't do X, Y, Z. Do the nigga make sure he pay his part of the bills? Do he beat your ass? No. Okay. Do he make sure your kids straight? Is he holding down his part of the household? Yeah, but I'm not happy. Well, girl, you need to leave him. Well, goddamn, he might not be happy either. Shit. But he ain't running to leave out, and he ain't pouring his heart out to his homeboys. Cause we know better.
but okay, so here's my thing in
Yes,
regards
man.
with what I think with men and with the sacrifice and with the happiness, right? I
Yes,
think
man.
that I've watched people actually, what I'm saying, actually sacrifice their, their happiness in their marriages because they actually know that their marriages are not working out, but they will actually sit right there and I guess like suffer in regards I mean they will suffer.
Men or women?
The men
Okay.
will suffer. Like for a fact that basically that your wife is let's say this scenario, your wife could be cheating on you or
Mhm.
your wife is not pulling her part around the household. um it can be many factors in regards with the man and him sacrificing his happiness because again, who would wants to come home working all day? The wife may be a housewife, the house is not clean, there's no dinner that's cooked, there's nothing. So you coming home from a job that you just clearly said that you love, but
Mhm.
this week right now you hate it this week, right? So
Mhm.
you coming home this week and there's nothing cooked, the house not clean. Yeah, you may have kids,
Mhm.
but you've been at home. She's been at home all day, but she can talk on the phone and stuff like that. And this is constant. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? People get tired of that, and that's not, there's no happiness in that, though you're supposed to find your own happiness, but I would want happiness outside of me finding my happiness, if you get what I'm saying. So
Mhm.
therefore it's just like, okay, I'm weary. I mean, the man would get weary. I done watched it. The man gets weary but will still stay around because, oh, kids, I don't want to leave my kids, this and that and the third. And it's just like, bro, like, let's not make that as an excuse when basically you sacrificing your happiness, but let's not make the kids as an excuse because again, they could be suffering, whatever. But I feel like you should leave. Me personally, I feel like you should leave if you're not really just truly happy in a situation. Or sometimes I ain't gonna say just necessarily leave, but separate for some time to try
Mhm.
to see if that's something that can bring y'all back together to mend the fat of something to work out. If you get what I'm saying, if I'm making
Mhm.
sense or something. Am I making sense?
A little bit. You basically saying you kind of circle back, but I'm with you. You basically saying why stick it out and sacrifice your happiness when you're not happy at home.
Correct. Like, why would you stick it out? Why would you? Okay, so I use the work because you working because you said you're not liking your job, but I'm just saying like you coming
Yeah.
home from your job. Usually, when men come home from their job, they want to come home because if you having a shitty week at your job and you coming home and you have a housewife, most men would want to come home to a clean house, dinner cooked. You know what I'm saying? Making shit that so not just every day, but I'm pretty much sure a couple of times out the week they want to come home to something like that. But if they're not coming home to anything like that, and it's majority, it's probably 4 times out the week they coming home to something like that, and it's the house is dirty, baby's crying, nothing is cooked. That's making them weary, and I feel like that's actually sacrificing their happiness because they're not happy, but they still trying to stick around in this relationship because of something. I don't know
Well,
what it can be.
most men know who they married, whether they want to admit it or not. And people have men tend to except they say it's like the 80-20 rule. And me and my cousin was talking. I don't say his name, but me and my cousin was talking about it because he got married a few years ago, and we vented to each other because we have that type of relationship. We can talk about anything, but I don't
Mhm.
vent to all my homeboys about my household and vice versa. But he was talking. He was just asking marriage advice, and I said, "Bro, you got to realize whatever your wife, those few things that you don't like about her personality, and I'm just gonna. I don't. I'm not saying this is what it was, but
Yeah.
hypothetically, if she don't like to cook, do she do? If that's the 20% that you get on your nerves, is the other 80% enough that you don't give a fuck about that 20% to get on your nerves? And if it is, then that 20% shouldn't affect your happiness because you see what I'm saying? So if
Yeah.
basically the 80-20 rule, if that 20% is not going to kill her, if the 80 can supplement that 20, which it should because it's 4 times the amount, then don't worry about that 20. It's going to get on your nerves. You're going to have days where, like it's hypothetically, she don't like to cook. There might be
Mhm.
times, like you said, you walked in and damn, she ain't cooked nothing today. But the other 80% is straight. Fuck that 20%. Because it ain't that, but it I ain't gonna say the grass is green always green looks green on the other side, whoever the phrase is. But you gotta remember
Mhm.
if you're you know who you married, then you know their pros and cons. And if their pros
Correct.
outweigh the cons, don't worry about the cons. There's going to be times when they do get on your nerve, that 20% is going to irritate you. And that's okay.
Mhm.
We're all human. But for the example you used, if it's I'm having a shitty week doesn't define a lifetime of marriage. You see what I'm saying? So we can't
Okay, so the
allow a
shitty
shitty
week at
season
work,
or a week. Yeah.
the shitty week at work, but you coming home to the week at I mean, so you coming home to your wife basically
Mhm.
doing this basically 4 times out of a week,
Okay.
not cooking, cleaning, doing any of that.
Well, she probably didn't cook when we first started dating. So why would you be, that's why I say you know who you married.
Okay,
Like, see what I'm
okay,
saying? When I get married,
yeah.
like me and my wife, can my wife cook? Absolutely. Is she a good cook? Yes. But I enjoy cooking. So my circumstance might be a little different. I enjoy cooking, but so I probably cook more often than she does. But I knew that in advance. Like one of our first dates when we was kids, I cooked her dinner. So I
Oh,
know who I
okay,
married. See what I'm saying? And most
yeah,
men, not all, but most men know who they married. They know if she like to cook, if she don't, or if she's messy, or she don't like to wash no clothes, or vice versa. I like to do
yeah.
that
I
type of
say
stuff.
that too. I say that too. But
So,
I also say that things change, people change. And if you got with someone before you even had the baby,
mhm.
people change after they have the baby as well too. Men
Yeah.
change after their women have babies as well too. I also think it also depends on what type of person that you are as well too, and what has been instilled in you as well too. And
Mhm.
I think it's a lot that actually factors in as to basically who you are as a person,
I agree.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and yeah, it's a lot of things that can go into it. And yes, women's bodies change, women's mindset can possibly change, but all of us should be growing and becoming more than what we were when we first met. So like if you're literally the exact same person when you first started or when you first got married and say 5 years later, you're still that exact same person for the most part, you probably don't failed in life.
Yeah,
You haven't
yeah,
done anything to improve, whether it be fitness, whether it be your job, whether it's whatever it might be, your hobbies. If you haven't, if you start becoming a painter today, okay, I'm gonna do a shameless plug. I became a photographer officially 2 Father's Days ago. If I sucked as
okay,
bad as I
congrats.
did, like if I sucked at being a photographer here 2 Father's Days ago, and I still suck now, I need to throw my camera on. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that's just part of human nature and growth.
True, true, but you'll be surprised.
Oh, there's people who do it. Yeah, there's some people who fail in their life real bad. They fail in their life real bad.
You'll be surprised. Like, what? Oh, okay, okay. But enough of that. Enough of that. But anyway, Skillet, I want to thank you so much for coming through and chopping it up
Absolutely.
with your girl Glo. It has been definitely a good and fun conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
But before we do head out, could you please let the folks know where
Mhm.
they can find you at?
Absolutely. My website is signlanguage.com. SYNLANGUAGE.com. You can see my entire photography portfolio, my videography, my pricing, my phone number, my email. You can find me on Instagram. It's at Sign Language Productions with an S at the end. My Facebook is Michael Chappelle. You can see it right there, spelled that way. It's two of them. One is my pops because I'm a junior, but he's brown skin, I'm light skin, so you'll know which one it is. Um, yeah, I think that's it. Yo, and I have a podcast. I have two podcasts. I have a Tribe Called Culture with my boy Cartier Camo, comes out every other Thursday, and then I have Nosy with Good Intention with my boy Kirk. That comes out. It used to come out every Tuesday. We've taken a little bit of a break because he lives in a different state, but we're gonna get back to it. So subscribe to the tribe, all that good
Hey.
stuff.
Hey, hey, hey. Oh, my bad, y'all. My bad, my bad.
No worries.
But anyway, thank you, Skillet,
Absolutely.
again
Thank you so
so much
much.
for coming through. Y'all heard what he said. Make sure y'all go over to his website. Go ahead and check him out. Make sure that y'all do subscribe to his podcast channel. And again, for the folks that is out there listening, I do want to thank y'all so much for tuning in to Conversations with Glo radio show slash podcast and keeping up with your girl Glo. It's been a pleasure, but y'all already know what y'all can do in the meantime, between time. Peace out. And we out. And we out.